All right, we'll go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes. Make sure everybody has a chance to get logged in and to join. Just a quick reminder, this will be recorded, and you'll get a link via email tomorrow where you can view the recording. At the bottom in the webinar tools, there is a Q&A box that you can use to ask questions during the presentation. However, there will be an opportunity at the end of the presentation for you to unmute yourself and ask questions. So please feel free to do so, but we're going to give it another minute or so here to make sure everybody can get on and join us. All right, Mindy, are you ready?
Yes, I am unmuted by you. I am ready to go when you are.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started then, so that way we don't take up too much time. Welcome to the next episode of the LTC EdTech webinar series. My name is Brian Bates. I'm Digital Learning Coordinator with the Learning Technology Center. And joining us today is Mindy Fiscus. She's the Digital Access Coordinator and also the State ERate Queen. So she's here today to walk through the 470 application and the 470 form. As I mentioned a minute ago, this will be recorded and you'll receive a link in the email tomorrow. You can ask questions by using the Q&A box at the bottom, or you can be unmuted at the end. Either way, but I will go ahead and step out of the way and let Mindy take over. So Mindy, whenever you're ready, go ahead and share your screen and we can get started.
I am sharing my desktop now, and Brian, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and field questions for me because I'm going to go into presentation mode here so that I can go ahead and see. I'll minimize this out of our way. So welcome to the webinar series today. As Brian said, we're going to go through the ERate 470 today. I'm going to do a few updates and a quick walkthrough of the 470 form itself. If I can get my screen to change. Okay, I am Mindy Fiscus, the Digital Access Coordinator for the Learning Technology Center of Illinois. I am also one of the 2 state ERate coordinators in our state. And so I participate with other state ERate coordinators on informational calls and meetings about ERate. And my job is to go across the state of Illinois offering support for ERate, including the 470 form, as well as the 471 form and the other forms in the process. I also do other things for the LTC in addition to ERate, but we're focusing on ERate today. So the first thing I want to point out, and I know that Brian had this on one of his slides filtering through, is that we do have a new community with the Learning Technology Center. And if you visit our website at ltcillinois.org, choose Stay Connected from the top and then Community, you'll get this wonderful little page that leads you to sign up for our LTC community. And inside that community, there is an ERate group. And so I'm hoping that it will spur conversation and start questions and answers among members from across our state. There are other segments of the LTC community that might appeal to you, whether you are an integration person, a tech boxes and wires person, or into Apple, Microsoft, all kinds of wonderful things. So do check that out. It's going to be a nice way to communicate new things as they happen with ERate across the state. So I'm excited to have that as one of our tools. First thing to address this morning or this afternoon is the 470 is now open. So you can go ahead and file your 470 now at any time. Really, the deadline for that 470 form is 28 days before the deadline for the 471 form, which is March 27th. So both of those forms are now ready and available online. The 470 form that we will go through today opens the bidding process and allows providers that are out there in the field to see what you're interested in for services and to bid on those services. So that's the first step of the process. The one after this one is the 471. That does have a hard deadline of March 27th, and you have to give at least 28 days for your 470 to be available for bidders to reply. That stops you from sending out a 471 day, choosing your brother-in-law down the street to be your provider, and then making and signing a contract the next day. It is an open bidding and fair bidding process, so that does take at least 28 days. So I encourage you to get out there now and file your 470s so that the people bidding on it have enough time to really get a good proposal back to you, and you can make a decision off of many proposals instead of a limited amount. The admin window, which is what USAC calls it when you go in and change your school counts and numbers, is now closed. So when you go into the portal for USAC and you attempt to make changes in your student counts, you're going to get an error that says it is now locked down. There is a way to still make those student changes, change your numbers, et cetera, and update them. We do that within the 471. So if you are concerned about that and looking at your student numbers in the portal and worried that they don't truly reflect how many students you have in your district, please reach out to me and I can walk you through how we go ahead and make those changes now that that window has closed. Also note here on the screen, I have given you the name of the other state ERate coordinator, Eric Grocke. He is our ISB state ERate coordinator, and he verifies those counts and information for USAC when they ask. So if you have any questions about your student numbers, how many of those kids are eligible for free and reduced lunch, et cetera, please do reach out to Eric and he can validate those numbers for you and help you through that process as well. Note here at the bottom, it says, I suggest tackling the admin window and the updates and 470 together. That is a good plan here moving forward. Most of the time we encourage our districts to get those 470s filed as soon as they can, and they just lock down that admin window right before they open the 471 each year. So if we can get those in sooner, the better in the future. Also linked up here at the top is a link to the application process flowchart. Just want to point out to everyone that this is the flowchart from the USAC site. It does walk you through all the various forms in the process. I also use this as a checklist. So here today we're talking about the 470. It does say to wait 28 days before you evaluate your bids and choose a winner. And then that's when we will be filing the 471. So we're moving through our chart here today, starting for next school year. So this is an application process asking for services for the 2019-20 school year. Again, if you have any questions, down in the bottom side there is a chat, and Brian's going to be looking for those questions as we go along. Also, I hope to have some time for questions here at the end of our presentation. So we are doing, we did do a 470 workshop tour. Sorry if anybody missed it. We had that in November, December, and we will be trying to do that annually. So we'll have a 470 tour each November, December to get people through the 470. We know that there were some people who were not aware of the tour this year and wanted to offer a little bit more help out here through the webinar series. So we did have 14 sessions across the state. So it was a true tour. I drove the state and met with 178 really excited about ERate attendees. Okay, maybe not, but that's the way I'm going to sell it. I did also do a 470 demo on the LTC YouTube channel in addition to this webinar. So whether you watch this recording or whether you kind of look us up on YouTube under LTC Illinois, please do that and follow along with your 470s. Also, if you need any support with your 470, 471, or moving forward, feel free to reach out to me via email or by phone. The ERate 471 workshop tour started today here in Belleville, where I am today, and January 22nd. We will be doing these various locations across the state of Illinois over the next month and a half or so. If you want to reach out and attend one of these sessions local to you, visit ltcillinois.org/ERate workshops. We do have 2 locations that are to be announced, still working on dates and locations for the Jacksonville and Love Park site. Hopefully we'll have those by the end of the week. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't touch on the state matching grant. The state matching grant is out there to help school districts who are putting in new fiber to their school districts. There is $16.3 million available in state funding to give out to school districts who do not currently have fiber and would like to build fiber out to their school districts, leveraging the ERate process. So I've put through a little bit of a timeline here. The date to note is that the grant is due on January 25th, which is this Friday. So if you are seeking new internet access at your district via fiber, and there is a set special construction one-time cost to get that fiber to you, this may be something that you would be interested in. Do reach out to me if you need some support on applying for the state matching grant. So let's get filing. Let's see here. Okay, I am going to go to, pull this down just a little so I can get to it, the landing page here on the portal. So the first thing I want to do is thank Hudsonville School District for being willing to let me log in today and use them as our demo district. I'm here on the landing page, which is at portal.usac.org. If you do not have access to the landing portal, that can be rectified by simply calling USAC at their 1-800 number and asking for access to the portal. They may have you prove who you are and that you're related to the district in order to give you access. I'm hoping that everybody here joining us today has access to the portal and can file. So this is the main landing page of the portal. It does list the school district and the individual buildings within Hudsonville School District here on the page. It also goes through any customer service cases, and you can look up old forms here at the bottom. The first thing that we're going to do is come over here to the upper right-hand side and click on FCC Form 470. It's a nice little shortcut that they've put here on the landing page to start a form. Now the first side page that's starting to come up here asks you to name your 470. I'm going to name this one Practice, just so I know that it is me and not an actual form for Hudsonville. Typically we do this as a form number that lists something like HCUSD1, funding year 2019-20. I ask everyone to go ahead and put a range of the year there so that you can see it's actually needed for 19 and 20. I do that because ERate refers to their funding years as the first year. So this is funding year 19 we're getting ready to apply for, where ISB uses FY to stand for fiscal year, and they would refer to this as fiscal year 20. So sometimes that can get a little bit confusing, so I encourage you to put a range in here. In this example, I'm going to do a quick example of Cat 1 and Cat 2. You are welcome to file separate Cat 1 and Cat 2 forms, but that is not required. And Category 1 and Category 2 can be filed on the same form. I'm going to click Save and Continue in the bottom right-hand corner. The next page just verifies that this is the district you're logged in as. So in this case, it's Hudsonville School District. It lists this build entity number that USAC has assigned, and it does say that this is a school district that is a public school district in the state of Illinois. It also mentions there are 2 entities listed here. That means there are 2 buildings underneath the district. Several school districts in the state have just 1 building, so that's okay if that number is 1. Also, if you, of course, have more than 1 building, it would list the number of buildings within your district. The next page says, are you the main contact for the school district? I always say, congratulations, you're talking to me, therefore you are. In this case, Julie Kramer, the superintendent, here is the main contact for the school district. If it is not you, you can click on no and enter information for who the contact would be there at your district. Clicking Save and Continue takes you forward through the form each time. Notice there is also a back button here in the lower left-hand side. Please try to use these buttons instead of the arrows backward and forward in your browser. These ones are way more successful to get you to the page you want to get to. There's also a save and share button. I really hate that it's right here next to the save continue. A save and share actually allows you to share to someone else in your district, and in order for you to get editing rights back to the form, they would have to log in and save and share back to you. So please try to avoid clicking save and share. This is where we choose which categories of service we want to apply for. Our options are Category 1 and Category 2. Category 1 just covers internet access. So it used to also cover telecommunications and phones, but those are no longer eligible services. So Category 1 is data transmission and internet access, where Category 2 talks about internal connections, which is the stuff that runs your network, basic maintenance of that stuff, basic maintenance of internal connections, and a managed internal broadband service, which is a fee that you would pay to a provider to manage your wireless network for you remotely. Usually that's a cost of a per student fee that runs usually around $20 to $35 a month for them to manage your entire wireless network for you. So that is also eligible. We do have a budget for Category 2. The budget for each school district is approximately $155 a student, and that budget lasts 5 years. So there is a set budget there. If you're interested in finding out if your school district has spent any of those funds, how much you have left in those funds, we are nearing the end of our 5-year cycle. So if you applied for the first time for Category 2 in 2015 funding year, it would be time for you to go ahead and spend out the remaining of your funds this year. So if you're interested in that, do reach out to me by email, and I will help walk you through a Category 2 tool that will show you how much money you have available for each of your buildings. We're going to click Save and Continue to take us to the next page. This page is a page that asks if there's an RFP for the services you're requesting. RFPs are not required, and in the example we're going to do today, I'm going to say no. If you do have an RFP, more information on a project you're doing, maybe you want to rewire a grade school and you'd like to attach additional information like a map of the building, you can say yes and upload any document right there. Some school districts rely heavily on an RFP process in their district, and you can use that RFP and attach it here. You'll still need to enter the information on the next page either way. So I'm going to click no for our example today and click Save and Continue. So right here is our main page for the form itself. This is where we're going to put the majority of our data. Notice at the top it asks for a Category 1 service request. The bottom it asks for Category 2. I'm going to do a couple of examples in each box to give you an idea of what it looks like. Each time I add a new service request, it will build a sort of chart for you so you can take a look at the services that you need. Then the service providers can come in and see your 470 when it's completed. They can see all of the requests you're receiving and this narrative box. So let's get started here at the top with Category 1, and I'm going to click Add New Service Request. There's a wonderful little description of all of the options here, but I'm going to click on the options and see which one best fits our needs. For most of our school districts, we are working with some kind of a leased lit fiber connection. Notice the top one says leased lit fiber with or without internet access. That's what I'm going to choose for our example. Then I'll show you down in the narrative how to note if that is transport back to a state network or if that's a bundled service. So please note while we're here, there are also options for self-provisioned or self-owned networks. So building your own fiber between buildings is an eligible service at ERate. So that's an option here as well, as in addition to leased dark fiber. So those are the two most complicated services that are available, but school districts can go anywhere from like leasing lit fiber all the way up to owning your own lines between your buildings. Lots of different options there. If you are currently using a service that is not fiber-based, which is a Metro E line, a cable line, or even a wireless point-to-point, those would be considered non-fiber services, and your choices here are transport, so that's usually when you're going back to a state or regional network, transport only here, and then this one is a bundled service, so that's combined, the transport and the internet access. So I'm going to choose fiber. And we're going to look at the other things that have popped up here. I just need one line for my building. Hudsonville High School and grade school sit on the same property, so they only need one line to their property. Everything is shared from that point. You have to list a minimum and a maximum speed. In this case, I encourage school districts to choose their current minimum speed. Hudsonville is currently using 200 megabits. I also encourage districts to choose a maximum speed that's quite a bit higher. In this case, I'm going to advocate for 1 gigabyte. And the reason that I do that is twofold. One, I really want school districts to see the price changes between different speed levels, because sometimes it's more economical to go with a higher speed. You just don't know how much that will be if you don't ask. Another reason is you don't have to file a 470 every year. If you file a 470 for internet access, and you lock in the price this year at 200 megabits, but next year you want to up that to 300 megabits. If you've put a range here on your 470, you can do so without filing a new 470 and a new contract. You can just do addendum to your existing contract and up your speed over time. So we're filing for 2 entities, 2 buildings here, and we are going to go ahead and say we want internet or installation of this fiber. Down in the bottom adds this to our chart. And in our narrative, I'm going to say seeking lit fiber as a bundled service. This means I am looking for internet access and transport combined. If she was interested in seeking lit fiber as a transport back to the Illinois Century Network, which is one of the other options that she actually does look at, she could say seeking lit fiber as a bundled service, or transport only. And then she could get both of those bids with that. What this amounts to is that, let me close that little window and plug in here real quick. What this amounts to is that she can look at all of her options here within the 470 without doing a separate RFP process. There we go, sorry about that. And taking that in front of her board. So this does handle the entire process for the bidding. So I have that here. If I was interested in internet access separately from one of our regional or state networks, I could add a new service request for that, etc. One of the questions that I get a lot of questions about is this installment plan section. You are welcome to click yes, I want an installment plan over 4 years to break down those costs over 4 years. That's a requirement of the program that providers offer that to you. But you do have to designate here if that's something that you want or not. I'm going to say no, knowing that this district already has the service. Down here in category 2, there are a lot of different options. So I'm just going to click on internal connections so you can kind of see what those options might be. Everything from the cabling that runs through your walls to caching servers and protection like firewall equipment or UPS battery backups. Basically anything that gets that internet to the students in your building, they are all available here. You would choose each one. I'm just going to choose racks, 1 rack. And if you have a preference of manufacturer, you can pick that as well. I don't really know off the top of my head who a rack preference would be, so we'll see no preference here. And if you need somebody to come in and install that for you, you can say yes or no. Each one of the services you're going to ask for looks relatively similar. You just go through and add everything to your chart here at the bottom for what you need. So you just make a running list of what you need. Again, there is a budget for category 2, so we want to keep that in mind when you're asking for stuff. Nothing locks you in here at the 470. You're welcome to apply for whatever you would like to see pricing on. Nothing says because I asked for a rack, I have to buy one. So that's a nice little thing down here. Sometimes people ask for wiring projects and they will attach the RFP on the previous page. And so they will ask for wiring and it may ask you for how many feet you're looking for, etc. We can put that there. Again, you can add more narrative down here. We really aren't supposed to designate certain model numbers unless you put or equivalent afterwards. So if there's a particular brand or model that you are looking at, you can say, hey, I would like a 2300 Cisco switch. But you do need to say or equivalent after. That helps providers know what exactly you're looking for, but doesn't necessarily lock them into giving you something that works similar or has similar specs. So that would be our category 2 example. Again, if you want to check out our YouTube video, it's got a few more examples and takes a little bit more time to break it out for you. I click on Save and Continue here so you can see the next page. One note, we have a lot of school districts that do hire out their technical contact person. It's a company that they work with. And so if you are using a technical contact person who does not work for your district, you want to say no and funnel those questions through you. If there is a technical person at your district that is not you that can answer those technical questions, you could choose yes and enter that person's information here. So just a little point there that I get a lot of questions on. And then lastly, it takes you down to saying, will you follow all state and local requirements? Are there any special ones that we need to mention? In most cases, that is no. And then you click on Review Form 470. So what happens right now is that this system will send a PDF and generate it to you. You can then review that PDF and verify with multiple checkboxes that you will follow all the rules of the program. Sometimes those are rules that say, I will keep things for 10 years. I will follow all of the laws and restrictions. I am a school. I'm not trying to resell products and things like that. So those check boxes that will appear as a result of that allow you to certify all of those things. So it did appear here in my tasks button. Please note, as you file yours, sometimes you have to check that box and refresh 2 or 3 times for it to show up. It then looks like this and allows you to download a copy of the document and view it. And your completed 470 will look something like this. It's a pretty clean and clear document that will show you everything that you've asked for. Go ahead and provide your narrative boxes, etc. And once you think that looks okay, then you can go ahead and submit. And it looks like I'm really getting down here to time. That was a lot to tackle in a short amount of time. Please do go ahead and get those 470 forms filed. Do wait the 28 days to collect your bids, and then go ahead and sign contracts. Visit me at a 471 session and get those 471s in before March 27th. I'm gonna put my email and the LTC website up here on the page and see if there's any questions that we need to ask or answer, I guess. Brian, do you have anything?
So there are no questions in the Q&A box, but I have made it available for participants to ask away. So if you would like to ask a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and do so. Also, Mindy, plug in your MacBook.
Oh yeah, I know, I thought that I did.
You have 3%.
Okay, thank you. I thought there's too many cords here, not enough that tells me what I'm doing. Okay.
We'll do one last call here for questions.
Sorry to make you nervous there, Brian. I grabbed the wrong cord when I plugged in.
No problem. All right, well, I think we are good to go then. Mindy, thank you for doing this today, and we will be doing the 471 coming up here in a few weeks on, I believe it is the 19th of February.
I think that is mid-February. I didn't know the date exactly, so we'll do the 471 at that point. Again, these forms can take a little bit more time than just the 30-minute window we have here, so it's just a quick run through. Please feel free to reach out to me via email or come to one of the sessions for some hands-on support. It really is a good experience to sit around with everybody in the room and all check the same boxes at the same time. Makes you feel a little bit better about answering the questions and filling out the forms when you have community support.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mindy. And this will be sent out via link tomorrow. So unless there's any other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day.
Okay, I'll hang out for the next couple of minutes. If not, then everybody have a great day.
All right, thank you.